Hi everyone, Happy New Year to all of you. I hope I am audible and probably we'll wait for another 2 minutes so that everyone can join in and we can start and everyone can be there in the journey from the starting itself. So is I just my team is going to just do a quick check. Is my voice good? Image, all right, fantastic. So you have a question tab there, so you can ask your questions there. So my team is going to look at the questions, and towards the end, we will answer some questions. And also in between, if there are some queries, you can raise your hand and or you can ask the question so the team can keep looking at it. And if there are some queries that we can answer on the go itself, we will try to answer it. Okay, so that's what today what we will be doing is we will look at what happened in 2019 in various segments and how we can learn from what happened in 2018 so that our 2019 can be a far better year in terms of digital success. And that is the full aim of today's presentation. All right, so then we can start. All right, so first is digital is without doubt it's a powerful tool, and how you use digital is up to you. And I sometimes say that this is God's silent gift for many businesses, and if you use it right, there are people who have seen amazing results. And I've also seen on the other hand there are people who have also burned their money and time in exploring digital. So without doubt it's a powerful tool. Whether you burn your money or whether you make money or whether you get the result, that's up to you how what benefit you get out of it. All right, okay. So as a company, our vision, including my personal vision, is there are so many good intended people, business leaders who have business ideas, knowledge, and they want to do good business. Sometimes they don't have access to marketing knowledge and they struggle in building their business. So with Digital Marketing University and various other activities, we are trying to help people with that knowledge. So our idea is that people should not struggle for knowledge. So let no good intended business leader ever struggle for digital know-how is one of the mission. And second is, if your business model is good and you are adding enough value to your customers, so then we can also give you right digital marketing support, digital success support. And these are two fundamental mission that we have taken. And how far we can scale, can we only help 50 entrepreneurs or business leaders, or can we go to 500 and 5000? That's what we are trying to look at from a scale perspective. And everything that we do, we try to do it under a structure, like Elon Musk has put it very nicely, saying that whenever you are learning a new subject, you always need to learn about the top structures first, which is your big branches and the trunk, and then add small branches and leaves to it, rather than focusing on a lot of knowledge which is basically leaves. But if you don't know where it every how everything should make sense out of it. So that's the idea of all of this. Wisdom over knowledge is our core idea of all presentation that we try to do. All right, okay. So let's I think now everybody is here. Now let's start. What are the things that we can learn from 2018 for a better 2019? All right, okay. So I want to start with looking at ourselves as an agency and accepting some of the faults and some of the flaws that we have. So the first thing that we have is there is a pricing model altogether which has a flaw. So the way agency charges its client and the way digital demands the work is completely different. So there are certain maybe 5 6 7 activities which requires a full dedicated person, and if we charge the way we charge on that dedicated person, then the overall costing of digital marketing activities will go up for any client, and then the ROI cannot be justified. So I think there is a major flaw the way agency charges their client, and that needs to be relooked at it. And there has to be some people with the client rather than with the agency, and agency should facilitate them, agency should guide them, and rest everything has to be managed at the client level, so that more business level activities can be done, and the cost can come down because these people are not on agency payroll, but these people are on client's payroll. So that's one area where I have seen a major flaw, because of which the right success can't be created. When I started my career, we used to have 20 people working on one website, and in service industry I've also seen one person working on 20 websites. So there are various areas where agencies needs to come forward and fix this issue. And second is, when we also take a client as an agency, at that time we are so involved in taking the client that we forget to have the hard discussion right up front, that whether we are going after performance, are we looking at creatives, are we looking at functional, are we looking at operational. So what is our goal, what is the reason why you have hired an agency, that needs to be discussed so that the relationship has to be well maintained. And also, the meetings between the agencies and the decision makers in the companies are relatively few, and that has to be more, because digital, there are a lot of things that happens on a quick basis. The more meetings you have, the better it can be. And last year we had done many meetings as a combined meeting with creative agency, with digital agency, with PR agency, and the client together, and we did it in a workshop format that helps everyone involved into the whole marketing department to come together, give thoughts, and put a broader guideline to what we want to achieve. And also, as a company, as an agency, sometimes what happens is you focus too much on digital KPI, and you don't focus on product innovation, you don't focus on a lot of research, and that is where a lot of failure also happens. So these are all things from an agency perspective that I'm sharing, that where all agencies needs to focus on to improve the client relationship. And then we have over promises. When we get a client, sometimes the way we highlighted, oh my god, your previous agency had done this stupid mistake, when we enter in, we will not make those kind of a mistake. And then suddenly you feel that the masiha has arrived, but that's not how it works. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of areas where even the agencies are not very sure. There's a lot of business knowledge gap that will always happen, but it is all about how you can go together. And every agency that you work with will have some goods and the bads, so you need to look at it how you will bridge those things and make use of the goods so that you get the right returns out of it. So instead of over promising, it will be always suggested that let us be open to each other and talk, so that there is a better result. And there is no problem in discontinuing each other's service, but then we need to know that where we failed, so that the next agency that you hire should be able to get the right result. Same thing with an agency, that when a client goes, you should understand where we made the mistake, so that the next client does not face the same kind of an issue. And digital is still in the discovery phase. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to have that expectation matching between the agency and the client. I think a lot of work needs to be done, and DMU Digital Marketing University.com is an effort towards that we want to structure everything together, so that you get a very structured system and you get benefited out of it. So that's just few pointers about from an agency perspective, that what are the things that we are doing incorrectly, so that we correct it. And I started with agency because I represent myself in that agency sphere. So when I'm pointing fingers at other people, I should also point fingers at myself first before I start putting fingers at other people. And also, these are some of the pointers. That don't expect magical agencies. There are none. Higher logical agencies, they will have some certain strength. And also, don't pressurize them so much that they had to lie during their pitches and everything. And always remember that lie is a mutual act. It is not done by one company. So it is, there's also a video that I've shared in this presentation, which probably my team will share with you, which is how to spot a lie. And it's a beautiful thing to look at it. And that's one point. I don't want to go deeper into it. And discuss with open mind with agencies. That's the pointer that I mentioned. And agencies should also have this pointer that, I don't need all the clients. There are clients who will benefit more from your services. So look at these clients which will be more benefited from your services, and give them more work rather than going after every single client. So that's one agency perspective. Now, from every client and every project perspective and every business perspective, so the first, one of the biggest mistake that I see is that we don't have a yearly plan in place. So yearly plan need not be that, okay, on Feb, how many social media posts will happen or how many ads will happen. So this is more about having a broad roadmap, Are we going after the people who are researching, or are we going after building a brand, or are we looking at improving the cost of acquisition? So what are we going after? So you need a very broad roadmap, and for maybe 2-3 months you can also have a detailed plan. Sometimes the detailed plans can be created only for a month, which is still fine, but then at least you should have a roadmap as longer as possible. For a year you should have a better roadmap, and for a 3 year you can have a raw roadmap that okay, this is how we are looking at our journey, this is how we will take the things up. And now who is doing all of those things? Is there someone from your team, is there someone from your agency who's looking at it, or is everything ad hoc? If everything is ad hoc, then probably the benefit that you can gain out of this whole activity will be limited. So put more effort in a structured plan, at least a roadmap, at least a raw roadmap, so that you know where you're going and who is responsible for top line and bottom line in short run and long run. So these are things that will help you to benefit. And I have seen that last year a lot of companies have not done this. Probably in 2019 we urge more people to do a yearly plan. All right. So then also this is another mistake that we have seen, is a lot of people spend their money on branding. They create awareness, they create interest in people. A lot of people are also happy to do business with you, but then towards the end when they are making a decision, they come to search engine or they go to certain areas and they research about different companies and different products. At that time you are not present. So you have done a lot of activities to get people aware of your product, aware of your company, but towards the end when they are making the decision, when they are researching about it, you are not present. And that is a big waste of digital marketing efforts, or a big loss of marketing money, because you are creating a very fat funnel on the top, and towards the end that funnel is not being properly utilized. And last year what we saw is we looked at some of the companies which were doing amazing branding exercise by creating awareness, and we told them that all right, your offline agencies are doing a lot of branding, can we enter in and do sales oriented squeezing of the funnel towards the end of the funnel, and just by being present in front of when people are doing research. And we enabled research, we did a lot of activities to help people in research. And what we saw is our cost of acquisition was very very low, and we had almost 20-25 percentage conversion from lead to sales. And this is not digital marketing companies doing, this is what the brand has invested in, this is what people are interested in that brand. Sometimes when you're not present in front of them, towards the end they don't even recall you. So that's a problem in the overall marketing. So remember, always have the last part of the funnel being taken care of, even when you're not able to take care of the top level of funnel. So that's a insight. And I'm sure there are some certain questions that people have shared, so I'll probably take up that questions together. And then we have also what we have seen is a lot of people don't do enough analysis, and people just put their opinions, and opinion is not a good strategy. Okay, it's not even a strategy, it's just their opinion. So what you need to have is how buyers are behaving, how buyers are buying, what's the buyer's funnel. Do a competitor analysis and see what is working for competitors, what is not working for them, how big is the digital market, how is the market, how people shift between online market to offline market. Do all of those analysis, and then you will see there are amazing insights that comes from all of this analysis. So I don't want to spend too much time in it because analysis is very very important. But then what should happen is, all these people who are working in digital marketing in your team or in agency, you should ask them that what is the rationale behind their strategy. Is that their opinion, or is it backed by the data? If it is not backed by the data, it is just an opinion. And if you're living with opinion as a strategy, it is bound to have more failures than success. All right. And when this is happening, a lot of people are so excited about digital marketing campaigns and etc. Sometimes even I ask my team, should the company pay you or you should pay the company, because we enable you to come up with so many creative things and you're so happy about the creative things that you do. But it's not about whether it's creative or whether it's functional, but it is about what are we trying to achieve. If it is not achieved, whose responsibility is this? As a person who is working in the internal team, as an external agency that is working, and even as a business leader, how we can put our skin in the game has to be looked at it. Anyone working on digital marketing with you, how you can enable, and but don't impose. Just sometimes what we have also seen is, some clients will say that, okay, we will only pay you if you're getting this leads. That is not how it may happen, because the last attribution may not even work. Maybe it is coming from somewhere else. So you need to find out how to put the skin in the game, have some time spent on understanding the variability in terms of payment, the variable payment, and how to come to that. And this can be a big game changer. And as business leaders, as people managing marketing agencies and marketing people, your job is also to manage people. So this is a very, very critical part of how do you manage, and what is your total percentage of CPA that you're expecting in short term, long run. So out of this, some can be put into variable. And we will also be releasing a very detailed article on how to manage different agency, internal agency, as well as their payment structure and all of those things. So that will probably help you a lot to come to a right structure. And sometimes the digital marketing agencies, as well digital marketing professionals, they often say that this is for long term, keep investing the money, and after a certain period we will get the result. And that is not again a good strategy. As a business leader, if you can't understand the overall roadmap for 2 years, 3 years, or 1 year, and if you are not convinced that this is going to give you result, then probably the long term is not a good strategy. And also digital, as I said, can also give you a lot of short term result. And we have seen that the results can start in a week time, it can start in a month time, and at least it can give you some progressive reports that this is how it is growing. And force the agencies, force the internal team to look at short term areas also, because these are the low hanging fruits which are not being taken care of. And we always look at the bigger picture, and we forget about that there are wins which we should not be looking at. So be frugal at every level to optimize your overall return from the marketing campaign. So not only work for long run, but also work for short run. And wrong person, I will say this is one of the top reason for failure. Whether there is a wrong person at the agency level, or there is a wrong person at the client's level, or whoever is managing your digital marketing activities, if that person is too confident or too low on confidence, etc., it can impact your marketing altogether. A lot of failure happens because of that. They impose their ideas without looking at the data. And so when you are looking at hiring a person for your digital marketing activities, get a friend, get a consultant who can actually sit with you, help you understand what type of person will be good for your business, and then try to hire the right person. And in our industry, we have a issue with senior digital marketing professionals, but then there are people who are very able in marketing. If you guide them a little, they can easily handle digital marketing teams. So there are enough marketing professionals in our industry, and just by a bit of extra knowledge around digital, they can easily handle digital marketing people. So marketing people are more important than digital marketing people to lead the team. So that's there. And having this attitude, because a lot of people have entered into digital later, so always this idea is that I need to prove myself that I know digital. So whether it's an agency or whether it's a client level, we try to prove that I know everything, and that kind of an attitude has always created a problem for us. It's okay to say that, oh, I don't know, but let us debate, let us discuss, and then figure out whether this is the right idea, whether this is the right way to go forward or not. Okay. And every business is different, so thus everyone can innovate differently. So there's nothing that you need to know beforehand to get into anything. Okay. And also, if you look at from this perspective, there are multiple teams involved in digital. So you have a creative agency which is looking at communication, positioning. There's maybe an market research team which is looking at your market understanding, your target group understanding, your customer understanding. Then there may be some people who are buying your media offline. There may be some people at digital level who is looking at performance. And then there is a PR agency involved, there is a support team involved. So there are so many people involved into it. And so the team structure is very, very important. That how do you look at team structure? And that will also enable you to look at it, what are the things that you want to keep it in house, what are the things you want to outsource, who is going to own everything, who, whether the external agency will own your performance or your internal agency is going to own the performance, or the external agency will be supporting you. As I said, we will be giving you a detailed document very soon, in a month or two, where we will be able to help you on managing your teams better. That document will enable everything for you, hopefully. And then there is a budget ratio. If you look at this presentation, this is very important to look at it. So sometimes what happens is you spend too much time on analysis. So just let's take a lakh rupees of budget. So if you have a lakh rupees of budget for agency, so then 20,000 rupees will be spent on analysis, for 80,000 will be spent on execution. Then if you're spending almost a lakh rupees with your agency, internal team, etc., on around your people, then at least you should have around 2 to 3 lakh rupees which you should be spending on media budget. If you're doing too many things which are internal, but you're not reaching out to people, then that is a failure. And a lot of people don't invest media money on digital, and that is why all this activity that you do does not get that kind of a result. A very good example is a social media post. If you do a social media post, it takes at least a $10 to $20 of investment for a social media post. If you have spent that kind of a money and you're not investing a $30 $40 to boost it so that it reaches out to more people, then you're not doing it as an investment, but you're just doing it for hygiene. So you should not expect much ROI from them, ROI from those kind of an activity. So what you should look at is, if this is for investment for returns, then you should invest media money along with the efforts. So that is a very important ratio to look at it. And this ratio can be 1:4:6, 1:4:4, depending on how much of your efforts is going into organic, how much of your efforts into going into building assets and etc. So this is just a overall understanding, so that your budget analysis and budget distribution has to be properly done. Again, as I said, marketing fundamental is more important, so hire people with marketing knowledge rather than digital marketing knowledge. And this is one of the best quotes that we can look at it, where Stephen from L'Oreal CMO, he said that it's not about agency coming and saying that we are a digital agency. That is gone a long time back. So people should come and saying that we are a marketing agency. So as a company, what we look at is, we say we are a solution company first, we are a marketing company second, and then we are a digital marketing company. So that mindset has to be there in every person who's working in digital segment. And also, when you're looking at it, many of your core areas are not fixed. Example is, if you're looking at sales from search engine, as 80% of the people before buying your product, they do research on Google. So you need to optimize your search, and optimizing the search means you need to optimize your landing pages, you need to optimize the website where people are landing, and you need to optimize the advertisement, and that probably will give you 60% of the return. But that core may not involve too much of campaigning, that core may not require too much of creative effort, but that requires a lot of activities which will improve your core. So you need to see that, invest on the core, then go to the next level, and then go to the next level, rather than investing on something which is right on the top and saying that, oh, this is the newest thing that is happening on digital, so let me invest money into it. Because that's always like it gives you fun, it gives you energy to do all of those things, but is that beneficial for your company? Maybe no. Okay. And so when you look at the budget also, divide your budget across all the funnel, not only into awareness, but also invest some money into creating interest, consideration. And sometimes you have created awareness, interest, and consideration, but people don't know how to buy your product. And on Amazon, say, people are buying and researching on Amazon for your product, but you're not available on Amazon, then you'll not be purchased, because they will only buy from Amazon at that particular time. So you need to see whether you're where is your problem, and then invest your money accordingly. So if you have 100 rupees to invest, so you invest that 100 rupees across the channel wherever you require that thing to happen. And especially sometimes your repeat business will come, it will take care of 50%, 60% of your overall revenue. So invest on how to get more repeat business, so where your lifetime value of a customer can increase, rather than looking at all the new businesses coming in to give you the revenue that you're looking at. Okay. And this is a secret, that whenever you look at any marketing activity, improve your funnel going from forward. So improve it for referral, improve it for repeat purchases, improve it for sales, then improve it for consideration, improve it for interest, then go to the market with creating awareness. And most of us, we just take the money, go to the awareness, invest all of our money in creating awareness, but then after coming to the website, people realize, oh my god, I'm not good enough to sell this particular products. Okay. So that's where you need to make sure that you're in improving your funnel, looking at the backward and improving that funnel from the back. All right. So maybe let me see if there are any queries that I need to take. All right. So there are some queries that I have. Some is good constitutional. Uh, all right. I think all of these queries I can take it up towards the. Okay. So someone has said, what does digital KPIs mean? So digital KPIs means digital indicators. The key performance indicators. What tells you that digital is performing or digital is not performing? As I said, if your digital team is separate from your marketing team, that in itself is a disaster. So you should have one team responsible for getting the result. We tell our clients and we tell everyone whom we are working with, that we do digital for you, we give you suggestion for offline, we do certain other activity, and we also do prayers. As long as any of this thing is working for you, you should be happy about it. So you should not go too much into that KPI that you forget that the overall goal of the business is to make more money, make more profit. Okay, so that's where this digital KPI overemphasis goes into the picture. Okay, so I think we will get back to this Q&A after a certain period of time. All right. Um, so let's go to the okay. And again, as I said, that when you are looking at the overall goals, uh, don't tell your agency or internal team that I want you to do SEO or I want to do PPC, etc. That you should always refrain from saying this is what I want to do. Always tell them what you want to achieve, and everything else will follow. All right. And digital segmentation is very different from the offline segmentation or the things that we have learned. So how to segment on Google, how to segment on Facebook, how to segment on LinkedIn, all of this segmentation is very different from having a generic segmentation. So spend a lot of time in segmentation. What I've seen is people do a very generalized segmentation rather than segmenting in detail about each channel. So that's another mistake that you can avoid. And when you're working on anything, positioning is critical for all communication. So spend some time in defining your positioning. So positioning means whenever you're communicating to people, what is the image that you're creating in people's mind. So if you are a mobile phone, do you come across as an innovative mobile phone? Do you come across as value for money phone? Does it come as a premium phone? How? But all of these are phones. But what is the positioning that you are trying to create out of all activities? So if your positioning is clear, every single message that you put for every different TG, the it has to be glued using this positioning. So that's where the positioning is important. I think it's a big chapter that I don't want to cover, and I will not be able to cover in this presentation, but it's important. And also when you're looking at the positioning, involve your operation teams so that operation team can also help you understand what are the challenges that they have and how they really add value. And I am expecting that maybe in 2 years 3 years time, the discovery will be so good that marketing for or the promotion part of the marketing will be reduced to almost zero money, and most of the discovery will happen by default, or there will be enough platforms where you can just put in and then the platform will enable people to discover your product rather than you putting your money to interrupt people. So in that way your focus should be how do I make my operations better, how do I make my product better. A better product will always win over a better promotion. So focus on a better product. That can only happen if the operation team is involved with the marketing team. So if the marketing team comes up with, oh, we are the best hotel in the world, and inside the hotel there are so many issues, then it's not going to happen. But on the other end, if you say we are the best hotel for someone who is coming for one day, etc., or the just for kind of a office meeting or etc., at that time probably you can improve your operations towards that, and your marketing message will sync with the customers who are coming to your hotel, because their expectation will be exactly what you're trying to give them in the operational level. So operation team is a very important part of the marketing. And also digital is very very different. So not only talk about your products but also talk about you. Who are you? What is your intention? So on a TV advertisement, you will not expect your CEO to come on the TV and say that, okay, this is what I want to do in my life, etc. But on digital you have a lot of areas where you can speak from your heart. You can tell what is the mission of your company, and people will connect with you. And even when I was doing some research in UK, I come across this article where almost I think 47 48 percentage of youngsters, like millennials, they look at the vision of the company. If they see that the vision of the company is not society friendly, they want to avoid such kind of companies. This is probably just a beginning where people want to look at the intention, people want to look at what the company stands for, and then deciding whether they want to buy the products from them or not. So having a right intent and right intent from the company's top level perspective is very very important. So don't think digital as just putting whatever you have done offline to online. And also there are certain steps that you can look at digital. So one is putting all what you do offline into online, second is making users connect with you, third is user to user engagement, and fourth is building a culture of digital within it. So this again is four parts of digital transformation. This is just an example where people are interacting with your logo 30 times, 40 times in a day, but offline it never used to happen. So changing your logo was so expensive in offline, but on online you can change it easily. But when people are interacting with your logo so often, you don't want to keep your logo also the same. So don't think just the way you thought about offline. There can be a lot of innovation that you can do. Even agencies are looking at new innovations. Every client can look at innovation in your own sector. So nobody knows what is right, what is wrong. So everyone is there to figure it out what we can do innovatively in every sector. And as this I have been advocating for long, is that the brand guidelines for SMEs, and people go so particular about brand guidelines that they forget about the purpose altogether, and they end up wasting so much of their time and money into brand, whereas the brand is really to add value in people's life. Sometimes it's not about one line here or one line there. It is, especially when you're SMEs, you don't have that kind of money to invest into that. You should keep the brand hygiene in place, but you should not go too finicky about the things, because everything comes with an expense. So you need to balance between quantity, quality, and pricing. So what is it that you want? If you don't want to do too many activities on digital, then the quantity is less, so you can manage your quality as well as pricing. But if you are price sensitive, then you don't have option to go for quantity as well as quality. So you need to balance out two out of these three, but you can't balance out all three. It is very difficult to balance it out. Everyone is looking for a budgeted Mercedes, which is still everyone is working towards, but it's difficult to achieve. Okay, and this is what Apple believes in. Apple says work or does not work is the only thing that matters. Whether we are a closed system or an open system, we might have one feeling today and one other feeling tomorrow. As long as it works, that's our religion. That's So don't focus on religion, but look at religion as a way to achieve the spirituality. That's what I will recommend. And also look at market wise, that which markets are big for you. So if your search market is big, invest there. If your profile contextual market, so these are different markets that we divide on digital. Wherever your big markets are, invest your time into it. So as I said, in research you will be able to find out which market is giving you the best result out of it. And even there, you can go on a research basis, you can go on an impulsive basis, you can go on a brand basis. Impulse is the most easiest way to connect with people. So have you come up with some CTAs, call to action, which are more impulsive than brand building on research? So that is how you can connect with people and then nurture people and get benefited from it. Okay, and this is where you have a choice, whether you want to acquire people early in their career or early in their buying cycle and then nurture them, or you want to wait for the end and fight in that complicated market, competitive market, to get them. So that's always a choice. And also there are researchers which shows almost 74 or 84% of the people, they tend to buy from the company which helps them in the early part of their funnel or early part of their decision making. So help your customer when they are looking for some decisions, so they will be more inclined to buy from your company. Okay, and thou shall not forget Amazon. This is pretty big, it's happening very very big. So if you take the actions today, so probably you can rule Amazon. So this is something that I'll take it at a certain other time, about how to look at Amazon. So we have a very strong expertise in Amazon sector now. We have worked in multiple markets with Amazon, so that's a big thing that's happening. I think, and this is again, each TG, each channel requires different messaging as well as different call to action. So don't have one call to action for all or target groups and all channels. You can have different. Example is, if someone is coming from Google looking for a particular service, at that time don't give them like kind of fill this form to get the knowledge and etc., but just give them a video which might be, and once the person has seen video more than maybe a 2 minutes or 3 minutes, then you can do a retargeting to them. Probably they'll be more inclined to buy a products from you. Okay, and then towards the end, think about utilities. Rather than just the creative campaigns, digital can create a lot of utilities, and that can sustain you more than the creative campaigns in itself. And there are a few other things, like when you are a local company or a local TG you have, don't create global content for them. So in the race for content, everyone is creating so much of content that we are forgetting that it's too competitive. Sometimes it will be easy for you to sell your product than competing in the content market itself. So look at what is the TG's requirement. So if you have a local TG, create local content. Don't create a global content and compete in the global market when you're not going to get benefited out of it. So if your video goes viral in all over India, but if your product is only purchased locally, you may not benefit that much. And creating a viral video is as expensive for a global company as expensive is for you. So you need to look at it, what is the benefit out of it. And also this year, don't look at content creation as much as content consolidation. So create utilities out of content rather than creating new content, as people are bored with reading content. They want wisdom rather than information altogether. And that's like, and also from a marketing perspective, when you're looking at reach, also look at frequency. So you can also select a niche audience and then reach out to the same niche audience 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, and they are high, there will be high probability that they will do business with you rather than reaching out to 100,000 people one time. So that's, these are all things that can give you more benefit. I think I've covered not only 5 or 6, but I've covered some of the pointers, and I'm sure there are plenty of questions that are there. I'll take a few questions. Open for question. As I said, this is a webinar, so where you can ask me questions and I can answer. And these kind of videos can be created on a regular basis and given it to you. Not a problem at all. But your queries will help me to answer some of it right now, and some of this I can answer after this webinar as well, so that all of us can be benefited out of it. Hope it helps. And let me take up some of the queries that you have. All right. So someone has said that how can we do the structural learning to improve the team's performance? Steps like weekly training or interactive session through work hours or senior guidance. What all activities did you do to squeeze the funnel and ensure presence at the lower part of the conversion rate? So this is asked by Rajiv and Saikat. Okay. So in order to train people, when you're training the people, this is another article that I've written today on, are you training people or are you facilitating the training? So the knowledge is already available on the web. So what you can do is you can make a list of the things that your team should learn and give them the videos that they can learn, and then bring them together where you can answer their queries and facilitate the training now rather than giving them the new training. Okay. So that is where you can look at the structure. So creating the structure, I have written that article in a detailed manner in LinkedIn. So that's there in public LinkedIn article. You can check my LinkedIn profile to get that detail. And also, how did we squeeze that funnel? What we did is, when we did research, and what we saw is, so okay, again, when you look at the digital markets, in the digital market, people may be purchasing online, or people may be influencing online. So if you look at the car industry today, we are told that in 2017 December, there was a statistics which said 87% of the people who buy a car researches online, and probably they purchase on offline, or they purchase by giving a lead online. But research, 87% of their purchase is influenced by research. So then when we looked at it, we looked at different industries. So there are some industries where 35-40% buying is influenced digitally, and there are also industries where almost 80-90% of the buying is influenced digitally. So at that time, when you're influencing someone while they are buying, the brand certainly plays the role, but also what it plays the role is, what are they looking for and how can we enable them in their research. So a lot of people don't invest in how to enable in that particular research, and that is where the last part of the funnel comes into the picture. So enable people in research and you will see a great return out of it. All right. So there are certain, oh my god, there's so many queries. I don't think I'll be able to take up all of this together. uh, Someone says, I am handcraft seller, how to increase branding without paid ad? Okay. Now this is asked by Sudeep. So this is another suggestion. Don't look at paid or non-paid. Sometimes paid is more cheaper than non-paid. Okay. So you should not have a fixation that I will not do paid advertisement. So look at, so when you're doing a product like a handicraft or a handcraft jewelry and etc., whatever you are looking doing, what you need to look at it, how people buy in your industry. If you need to be in front of them, what is the right time that you want to be in front of them? And do people buy because you're a brand, or people buy because you're a good product? If people buy because you're a good product and then you are a brand or a trusted company, so then based on that you need to frame the whole funnel, the whole journey of a customer, and then invest at the right place. Sometimes you might have to invest money, sometimes you may not have to invest money. So in your whole journey, you should start with paid, then you should go to organic, then you should go to branding. So this, if you are not going paid, then what happens is the whole growth that you have takes more time, and sometimes just paying money is easier than doing it. And if you don't have enough money, show your business to someone else who has money, and then both of you can come together to compete in the market, rather than waiting for the money to be made out of selling and then investing into promotion and everything. So money is the easiest spend that you can do, and I will always recommend, don't look at paid or non-paid, look at profitable. All right. And then we have some queries here. Is it fair to evaluate organic search campaigns on the basis of leads? How can we do the structural learning to improve the team and etc.? That I've also already answered. So is it fair to evaluate organic search campaigns on the basis of leads? How can we? So there are different KPIs that you can look at it. So one that you can of course look at it is, what is the impression that you're getting on organic search, and is that impression relevant or not? So that will be the first metrics to look at whether your search is growing or not. Okay, that you can get it very easily from your Google console, Google Webmaster Console, and that is what tells you that you're capturing a bigger market in search. And out of this, our people coming to our website will be the second flow. If say you are ranking at number 10th, then your impressions will be high, your clicks will be less, but that does not mean that you have not done a good job in SEO. But if your job is to get more visitor to your website, then of course how many people are getting converted. So these are three stages. Not just looking at leads may not be the best way, but as a company, as I said, I always focus on how to get more business for them in the short run. So there are certain examples where we have also optimized traffic, and we got an 500 extra traffic to our website, but that 500 increased our leads by another 170, 130 and in that range. So just 500 traffic increased our 130, 140 leads, which is almost double of the leads that we were getting from like it's equivalent to the leads that we were getting from paid. So that can also be done very quickly, and this was done in a matter of I think 3 months or so. I like to do everything in India, have the team in your company, and your company handle the business of our account. Okay, so these are things. Arno, I think this is something that I can take with you offline. So Arno has asked, can you handle from A to Z marketing from our customers? See, that is what some of the companies like ours, we try to be a generic company which is developing capability at all levels. But even after that, we will have areas where we are not good at. At that time, we either tell you or we partner with some people, and then we grow with you. So it is not required that everything has to be done by the same company, but yes, as a company, this is our focus, and what we are very good at is digital marketing mix. That which mix will give you the maximum result is what we look at. Okay. So if someone is asking, is B2B marketing, Facebook marketing is good? Okay. Our experience in India, we have done amazing work in Facebook marketing for B2B, and we have got very good results. Same thing we have done in UK, and we have got very good result in certain industry like digital industry and etc. And we have generated CIO leads, we have generated CISO, CISOs leads, which are generally only in our enterprise level. So yes, Facebook is also being voted as one of the B2B platforms. So you can certainly look at B2B. But then again, everything is P2P. All that you need to know is whether the people are there or not. People want to interact with people. So if your target audience, who are again happen to be people, if they are there and if they have mentioned on their profile that they belong to this or not, and sometimes the easiest trick is to combine a behavior with the demography, and you will get a very amazing audience on Facebook which can be looked at. Just the behavior or just the profile interest is not good. Okay. All right, so some do we have time or huh? 5-10 minutes? All right. uh, how does digital marketing differ where the TG is niche, like for a B2B? So again, for niche marketing, digital is one of the best. So you need to look at it is, where are you segmenting your TG? Are you segmenting based on the search? Are you segmenting based on the profile? Or are you segmenting based on the context where people are reading something? So what you need to do is get the people based on the intent, and then form a remarketing area around it, and then go after these people. So sometimes getting the person can be very expensive. Say example, in case of a B2B, maybe you're getting the person because of a LinkedIn advertisement, which might cost you one click at a $5, $4, $10. But once they get to your website, you have multiple ways of reaching out to the same people across the web. So use different ways to find the intent of the user or find the right TG, but then after that use all possible media to reach out to them again and again. And that is where remarketing can be very, very effective. But again, that can be explained in very different way. Also in terms of niche, like for our company, we have 14,000 people in India and 16,000 people in UK. That's the only advertisement that we do. So we don't go after the masses, we just advertise to these people, and out of this some people will select us because they will find us a match somewhere. Okay. Then we have a big question by Abhidev. How does DM work for business niches where conversion is not done online? For example, for jewelry business which do not have online products, healthcare, real estate, etc. All right, that's a very interesting question. But then again, there are multiple ways that you can look at it. Sometimes the lead is generated online, and then you can integrate the email and the phone number with your CRM, so that whenever they purchase offline, there is an integration that happens. And this again can be done online. Also nowadays, you get an option where all these purchases that you have done, you can upload back to the Facebook, and Facebook can also tell you which exact campaign has generated more awareness, which has led to the sales and etc. And also there is a offline target offline conversion that is possible. So if someone is walking with their mobile phone where they have seen the advertisement on the mobile, and after that they're walking into your store based on your Google local or Facebook local and etc., at that time there is a option to connect these two, and there are restrictions in terms of different countries that what type of tracking is available. But yes, offline tracking to a certain level is available. But as I said, the first thing that you should look at is that you have a business, and your business has is selling 100, and now after spending 20 more dollars or 20 more rupees, your business grew from 100 to 120. So then you should look at the overall business growth and look at whether this combination of marketing mix has worked for you or not. If it has worked, including the prayer, then you should focus on that and then keep optimizing it, not only going after one particular channel or one particular segment saying that, oh, is it working or is it not working. So that's an area. So someone has said that I have some issues on Google Search Console. Yeah, happy to share those details. So my email ID is aji@digitalmarketinguniversity.com. So you can send me an email, then I can look at that particular query and I'll happy to answer the specific queries that you have, as the idea is to help. Okay. uh, what are the different digital channels? I missed the slide, and how to match it with the user intent. I think this requires a little more detailing. Probably we can share a document, and in fact on our website we have mentioned some of the tools, some of the channels, etc., so you can look at that. What are the key difference in B2C and B2B digital marketing, especially since B2B involves a set of people in decision making, whereas B2C is focused. This is a good question, but then multiple answers to it. One is, this is the only segment where I've seen the desktop is more popular than the mobile versions. So normally I've seen that 20 to 30% of the traffic comes from mobile, rest everything comes from desktop. Whereas in B2C, it's the other way around, almost 70-80% comes from mobile, everything else comes from desktop. Plus the decision is taken as a group decision rather than an individual decision. So how are you enabling it? If you're not giving them a PDF that they can take to a board meeting or pass it on to someone else, and they have 10 pointers that they want to make a decision, and if your landing pages or your document is not allowing them to make those decisions, then they will not come back to your website again and again, because there are 7 decision makers, only one is coming to your website, rest of the 6 is not coming to your website, then that is a loss for you. So understanding how your customer behave in that particular segment, that will enable you to understand which channels will be more suited and how to use digital for that. Okay. I think there are plenty of other questions, but then I think what I'll do is, just to respect the time, we will say goodbye to all of you right now. And once again, happy new year to all of you. Make 2019 one of the best year for you in terms of digital, and grow really good. Thank you so much everyone. Best of luck.